Hello everybody. In today's lesson, we're going to continue with Module 4, Lesson 4.4, Solving Multi-Step Problems with Fractions and Mixed Numbers. We're on page 97 of the 6th grade Go Math textbook. So solving problems with rational numbers. So sometimes more than one operation will be needed to solve a multi-step problem. You can use parentheses to group different operations. Recall that according to the order of operations, you perform the operations in parentheses first. So for example, 1. John is cooking enough lentils for lentil barley soup and lentil salad. The lentil barley soup recipe calls for 3/4 cup of dried lentils. The lentil salad recipe calls for 1.5 cups of dried lentils. John has an 1/8 cup scoop. How many scoops of dried lentils will John need to have enough for the soup and the salad? So first thing obviously is look for the important information in here. So he needs 3/4 of dried lentils for the soup and 1.5 cups for the salad. He has an 1/8 cup scoop. And we're asked to find how many scoops will we have to use or do to get the proper amount. So formulate a plan. We can use the expression 3/4 plus 1.5 for the total amount of lentils divided by 1/8 cup scoop. We have to do what's in parentheses first. So we're finding a common denominator, which would be fourths. And 3/4 plus 6/4 is 9/4. We can change that back to a mixed number of being 2 and 1/4. You didn't have to use a fraction greater than 1 here. We could have written this as 1 plus a half and just added the fractions. Okay, so page 98. So he needs 2 1/4 cup of dried lentils for both the soup and the salad. To find how many 1/8 cup scoops he needs, he divided the total amount of dried lentils into the groups of 1/8. So 9/4 times the reciprocal of 1/8. We can reduce 4 and the 8 by dividing by 4. So we'd be left with 18 over 1. So he would need 18 scoops of the dried lentils. All right, justify and evaluate. We added 3/4 and 1.5 first to find the total number of cups. Then we divided that sum by 1/8 to find the number of 1/8 scoops. Okay, so number 1. Before making some soup, a chef mixes a 1/2 cup of cream with 3/4 cup of milk. If the scientist uses 1/8 cup of the combined liquids to make one batch of soup, how many batches of soup can be made? So we see that he needs 1/2 cup of cream, needs 3/4 cup of milk. And he has a 1/8 cup to make one batch. We need to find out how many batches of soup we can make. So we're going to add 1/2 plus 3/4, and then we're going to divide by 1/8 to find the number of batches. I know that 1/2 can become fourths by multiplying by 2. So we have 2/4 plus 3/4 divided by 1/8. So we have a sum of 5/4, and we're going to divide that by 1/8. All right. We know we can reduce the 4 and the 8 by dividing by 4. So 5 times 2 is 10. 1 times 1 is 1. 10 over 1 reduces to 10. So he can make 10 batches. All right, number 1. An art student uses a roll of wallpaper to decorate 2 gift boxes. The student will use 1 1/3 yards of paper for one box and 5/6 of paper for the other box. The paper must be cut into pieces that are 1/6 long. How many pieces will a student cut to use for the gift boxes? Okay, so we're going to be adding 1 3/6 and 5/6, and then we're going to divide that by 1/6 size pieces. So I know that 1 1/3 can be written as 1 plus 1/3. I'm going to add that to the 5/6. So 1/3 can become sixths by multiplying by 2. So we have 1 plus 2/6 plus 5/6. So we have 7/6. So we have 1 and 6/7. 7/6 is the same as 1 and 1/6. So we change the fraction greater than 1, 7/6, into a mixed number, 1 and 1/6. So we have 2 and 1/6. So 2 and 1/6, and we have to divide by 1/6. So what we were doing was adding the find common denominator, right? So we have 13/6 times 6 over 1. We have 13 over 1, or 13 pieces. Okay, so when I added this, we came up with 2 and 1/6, and we still need to divide by 1/6. 2 and 1/6 as a fraction greater than 1 would be 2 times 6, 12, plus 1 more is 13, over 6, times the reciprocal of 1/6. The 6's can be reduced by dividing by 6, so we're left with 13 over 1, or 13. All right, describe a real-world problem that you could solve using more than one fraction operation. Show how to solve the problem. Okay, let's say you have 3 5/8 pounds of clay. Then a friend gives you another half a pound. If you use 1/8 pound for each of your projects, how many projects can be completed? So go ahead and write that out, or come up with a real world problem of your own. Doesn't matter what you come up with. But you want to have something where you're going to add or subtract and then have to divide. Okay, so again, we have 3 5/8 pounds of clay. A friend gives us another half a pound. If we use an eighth pound for every project we do, how many projects can we complete? So we know that we have to add 3 5/8 plus 1/2, and then we're going to divide that by the 1/8 pound. So 3 5/8 plus a half. I know I can turn the halves into eighths by multiplying by 4. So 1/2 is the same as 4/8. So 3 5/8 plus 4/8 is 3 9/8. 9/8 is the same as saying 1 1/8. So 1 1/8 plus 3 is 4 1/8. Let's turn this into a fraction greater than 1. 8 times 4 is 32, plus 1 is 33. So 33/8 times the reciprocal of 1/8. Okay, we can reduce by dividing by 8, and we're left with 33 times 1, which is 33. 1 times 1 is 1, so we have 33 projects. Can be completed. Okay, number 3. Carl participated in a 2-day charity walk. His parents donated money for each mile he walked. Carl walked 3 1/4 miles on the first day and 5 1/2 miles on the second day. His parents donated $175. How much money did his parents pay for each mile? Okay, so we know he went 3 1/4 miles on the first day, 5 1/2 the second, and he received a total of $175. So we're going to be sharing this $175 amongst the total miles Carl walked. Okay, so $175 divided by total miles. So we have 175 divided by, we know we can turn 1/2 into fourths by multiplying by 2. So we have 3 1/4 plus 5 2/4. The whole number part is 8, and the fraction part is 3/4. Okay, we're going to turn 8 3/4 into a fraction greater than 1. 4 times 8 is 32, plus 3 more is 35/4. And we can rewrite 175 as 175 over 1. Okay, to solve it, multiply 175 firsts times the reciprocal of 35/4. Okay, we know a common factor of 175 and 35 has to be 5, because they both end in 5. 35 divided by 5 is 7, and 175 divided by 5 is 37. 37 times 4, 148 over 7. I think I need somebody to make sure I'm awake here. Let's look at this division here. 3 times 5 is 15. But when I subtracted, somehow my brain told me 17 minus 15 was 3. Oi. 2, right? 2. All right, and 5 times what is 25? 5. So 35. So we have 35 times 4, which is 140. 140 divided by 7. 20. All right, so they paid him $20 per mile. Number 4. An art teacher has 1.5 pounds of red clay, 3/4 pound of yellow clay. The teacher mixes the red and yellow clay together, and each student in the class needs an 1/8 pound of the clay to finish the assigned art project. How many students can get enough clay to finish the project? Okay, so we have 1.5 pounds and 3/4 pound mixed together. It's going to be given out in 1/8 pound blocks. So we need to add 1.5 plus 3/4, and I'm going to divide that by 1/8. Okay, we know that 1/2 can become 4 by multiplying by 2. So 1.5 is the same as 1 2/4 plus 3/4 divided by 1/8. So 3 and 2 is 5 over 4. 2/4 and 3/4 is 5/4. Change 4/5 into a mixed number, we'd get 1 1/4. Okay, so 2 1/4 divided by 1/8. Change 2 1/4 into a fraction greater than 1. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 more is 9. 9/4 times the reciprocal of 1/8. We can simplify 4 and 8 by dividing by 4. 9 times 2 is 18. 1 times 1 is 1. So 18 students. Okay, number 5. A hairstylist schedules 1/4 hour to trim a customer's hair and a 1/6 hour to style the customer's hair. The hairstylist plans to work 3 1/3 hours each day for 5 days each week. How many appointments can the hairstylist schedule each week if customer must be trimmed and styled? All right, so we know it's a 1/4 hour to trim. We know it's a 1/6 hour to style, and she's going to work 3 1/3 hours for 5 days each day. So if we multiply 3 1/3 by 5, that'll tell me how many total hours she's going to be working. And then we're going to divide that by how long it takes to trim and style the hair. Okay. All right, so let's change this mixed number into a fraction greater than 1. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 more is 10. 10 over 3 times 5 over 1. A common multiple of 4 and 6 is 12. So multiply 1/4 by 3 over 3. We get 3/12. Right? 1/4 times 3 over 3 is 3/12. 1/6 times 2 over 2 is 2/12. So we have 50 thirds. That's how many hours she works for the week, divided by 5/12. So she takes 5/12 of an hour to trim and style a customer's hair. So we're going to multiply 50 thirds by the reciprocal of 5/12. Okay, well, I can simplify both ways. So common factor of 50 and 5 is 5. So 50 divided by 5 is 10, and 5 divided by 5 is 1. A common factor of 3 and 12 is 3. So divide both of those by 3. So we're left with 10 times 4 over 1 times 1. So she can make 40 appointments. Now let's move on to number 6. A picture framer has a board 10 and 1/12 feet long And the framer notices that 2 3/8 feet of the board is scratched and cannot be used. The rest of the board will be used to make small picture frames. Each picture frame needs 1 2/3 feet of board. At most, how many complete picture frames can be made? So we have 10 1/12 feet, but we have to get rid of 2 3/8 feet. So number 6, we will write this as 10 1/12 minus what can't be used. And then we're going to divide by the amount needed to complete each picture frame. All right, well, I know that the multiples of 8 are 8, 16, 24, and I also know that 12 can become 24. So I'm going to multiply 1/12 by 2 over 2 to get 2 24ths. So 10 1/12 is the same as saying 10 and 2 24ths. Minus 3/8, I can multiply by 3 over 3. So 2 3/8 is the same as 2 and 9 24ths. We can change this into a fraction greater than 1. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5 thirds. 1 2/3 is the same as 5 thirds. All right, so we have 10 and 2 24ths minus 2 and 9 24ths. We can't take 9 from 2, so we'll regroup one of the whole numbers into 24 24ths. So 7 and 17 24ths of the wood is good. I'm going to divide that by 5 thirds. Okay, we want to change this mixed number into a fraction greater than 1. So 24 times 7, 168, plus 17, we get 185 over 24. We're going to multiply that by the reciprocal of 5 thirds. We can simplify 3 and 24 by dividing by 3. We can simplify 5 and 185 by dividing by 5. 5 and 18 is 3 with a remainder of 3, so 35. 5 into 35 is 7. So we have 37 times 1 over 8 times 1. 37 divided by 8. 4 5/8. So how many complete picture frames can be made? 4 picture frames. Okay, it's not, you wouldn't complete 5/8 of a picture frame, right? So it has enough to make 4 picture frames. All right, number 7. Jim's lawn is a rectangle that is 15 5/6 yards long and 10 2/5 yards wide. He buys sod that are 1 1/3 yards long and 1 1/3 yards wide. How many pieces of sod will he need to cover his lawn sod? So here we have 10 2/5 times 15 5/6. I'm going to divide that by 1 1/3 times 1 1/3. Okay. So this is the area, and this is the area of each piece of sod. All right, so let's change these into fractions greater than 1. 10 times 5 is 50, plus 2 is 5. 6 times 15 is 90, plus 5 more is 95 sixths. Yeah, I know I can simplify 5 and 95 by dividing by 5. 95 divided by 5 is 19. 6 is not a factor of 52, but 2 is. So let's simplify by 6 divided by 2 is 3. And 52 divided by 2 is 26. So 26 times 19. Come up with 494. And 3 times 1 is 3. And we're going to divide that by 4/3 times 4/3. So we get 16/9. All right. So multiply 494/3 by the reciprocal of 16/9. Simplify the 3 and 9 by dividing by 3. I'm curious to see if 16 is a multiple of 494. Okay, it isn't, but 2 is for sure. So let's simplify 16 by dividing by 2. We get 8. And 494 divided by 2. 247. All right, so 247 times 3. 741 over 8. So divide this and now tell us how many pieces of sawed he'll need. So he needs 92 and 5/8 pieces of sod. So he's going to need 93 pieces. Okay. Again, you wouldn't sell a 5/8 piece of sod because he's going to have them 1 by 1 1/3 times 1 1/3, or 1 1/3 by 1 1/3. So it comes out to 92 and 5/8 pieces. So he just needs 93 pieces. Number 8. Ava wants to make 2 pieces of pottery. She needs 3/5 pound of clay for 1 piece, 7/10 pound for the other piece. She has 3 bags of clay that weigh 4/5 pound. How many bags of clay will Ava need to make both pieces of pottery, and how many pounds will she have left over? Okay, so we have 3 bags times 4/5. Okay, she has 4/5 pound bags of clay, and she has 3 of those bags. And we're going to subtract the amount she uses. So she's going to use 3/5 pound and 7/10 pound. All right, well, 3 we can rewrite as 3 over 1 times 4/5. So that would be 12/5 minus the sum of 3/5 and 7/10. I can turn fifths into tenths by multiplying by 2. So 3/5 times 2 over 2 is 6/10 plus 7/10, which is 13/10. We can turn 12/5 into tenths by multiplying by 2. So 24/10 minus 13/10. Turning 11/10 into a fraction greater, mixed number, I mean. So we'd have 1 and 1/10. So she's going to use 24 divided by 10. That's how much she's using. I'm sorry, 13 tenths. So 13 divided by 10. She's going to use 1 3/10 pounds. 4/5 plus 4/5 is 8/5 for 1 3/5. Okay, so she's going to use about 2 bags. She's going to have 1 1/10 pound left over. I want to go back and do the first part of this problem. How many bags of clay will Ava need? So actually, we know that she's doing 3/5 and 7/10, right? And we know that each of the bags is 4/5. So if we take how much she's going to use and divide by 4/5, that'll tell us how many bags she needs. So we already know that 3/5 is the same as 6/10. So 6/10 plus 7/10 is 13/10. We're going to multiply that by the reciprocal of 4/5. You can simplify 5 and 10 by dividing by 5. So we're left with 13/8. 13 divided by 8, you'd be left with a remainder of 5, so 1 5/8. Okay, so she's going to use 1 5/8 bags of clay. And number 9, Mark wants to paint a mural. He has 1 1/3 gallons of yellow paint, 1 1/4 gallons of green paint, 7/8 gallons of blue paint. He plans to use 3/4 gallon of each color. How many gallons of paint will he have left after painting the mural? So we have 1 1/3 plus the 1 1/4 plus 7/8. And we're going to subtract that from 3 times 3/4. Okay, so these are the amounts of paint he has. And he's going to use 3/4 gallon of each paint. So 3 times 3/4. All right, so 1 1/3 is the same as 4/3. 1 1/4 is the same as 5/4. And 7/8 is 7/8. I know that 3 can become 24, 4 can become 24, and so can 8. So 4/3 times 8 over 8, 5/4 times 6 over 6, and 7/8 times 3 over 3. So we have 32 24ths plus 30 24ths plus 21 24ths. And 3 times 3/4 is 9/4. So we have 62 plus 21 is 83 24ths minus 9/4. Multiply 9/4 by 6 over 6, and we have 54 24ths. 83 minus 54, 29. If we change 29 24ths into a mixed number, I can take 1/24 from 29 with a remainder of 5. So 1 and 5/24 gallons will be left. Okay. Number 10. Trina works after school and on weekends. She always works 3 days each week. This week, she worked 2 3/4 hours on Monday, 3 3/5 hours on Friday, and 5.5 hours on Saturday. Next week, she plans to work the same number of hours, but will work the same number of hours each day. How many hours will she work each day? Okay, so first we need to figure out how many hours she worked this week. So we have 2 3/4 plus 3 3/5 plus 5.5. Okay, so I know that 4 can become 20, 5 can become 20, and so can 1/2. So multiply 3/4 by 5 over 5, multiply 3/5 by 4 over 4, and multiply 1/2 by 10 over 10. So 2 15/20, 3 12/20, and 5 10/20. So 15 12 is 27, plus 10 is 37/20. The whole numbers are 10. So change 37/20 into a mixed number. So 1 17/20. So she's going to work 10 plus 1 17/20, 11 hours and 17/24. Okay, so that's how many hours she works this week. All right. So if we change that into a fraction greater than 1, okay, so we're going to have the amount of hours that she worked, 281/24, divide by 3, because again, she's going to work three days next week. So 281 over 24 times the reciprocal of 3, which is 1/3. So 281 over 72. Okay, I came up with 3 and 65 seconds, 70 seconds hours. I want to double check that. So I'm going to go back 2 3/4, turns that into a fraction, which would be 2 15/20. 3 12/20 is the same as 3 3/5. 5.5 is the same as 5 10/20. 20 times 10 is 200 plus 37, 237/20. divide by 3. Okay, so I know 3 goes into this because the sum of 7, 3, and 2 is 12. So 79 over 1. So 79 divided by 20. So actually it should be 3 and 19/20ths hour. Okay, so somewhere along the line here, I confused myself with when I changed this answer into a fraction greater than 1. Okay, so all I had to do was multiply this. Okay, I didn't have to change this into a mixed number. Okay, so I just multiplied 10 times 20, 200, plus 37 is 237 over 20. Then we took the 237/20ths and multiplied by the reciprocal of 3. Came up with 79/20ths divided by 3 with a remainder of 19. 3 and 19/20ths. Okay, number 11. Describe a real-world problem that can be solved using the expression 29 divided by 3/8 plus 5/6. Find the answer in the context of the situation. So let's say, I don't know, you have 29 cups of flour to use in a recipe. You're going to need 3/8 cup for one part of the recipe and 5/6 cup for the other part of the recipe. How many batches can be made with the 29 cups? All right, so you have 29 cups of flour. You'll need 3/8 cups for one part of the recipe and 5/6 cup for the other part. How many batches can be made with the 29 cups? So we have 29 divided by the sum of 3/8 and 5/6. So I know 8 and 6 both can become 24. So 3/8, if I multiply by 3 over 3, I get 9/24. And 5/6 times 4 over 4 would be 20/24. So we have 29 divided by 29/24. Okay, well, the 29s basically cancel each other out. So we're going to divide by 29. And we're left with 24 times 1 and 1 times 1. So 24 batches. All right, number 12. Indira and Jean began their hike at 10 a.m. one morning. They planned to hike from the 2 2/5 mile marker to the 8 1/10 mile marker. They plan to hike at an average speed of 3 miles per hour. Will they reach the 8 1/10 mile marker by noon? Okay, so this is how far they're going to hike, and we're going to divide that by 3 because they're walking 3 miles. So that'll tell us how long it's going to take them. All right, so I know I can let's change this into a fraction greater than 1. 8 times 10 is 80, plus 1 is 10. So 81 tenths minus 12 fifths. Divide by 3. Turn fifths into tenths by multiplying by 2. So 2 over 2 times 12 fifths is 24 tenths. 81 minus 24 will be 57 tenths. And we're going to multiply 57 tenths by the reciprocal of 3, which is 1/3. I know 3 goes into 57 because divisibility rules for 3 says that if you add up the digits in a number and it's divisible by 3, then the whole number is divided by 3. So 7 plus 5 is 12. 12 can be divided by 3. So 57 divided by 3 is 19. So we're left with 19 times 1 and 10 times 1. I can take 110 from 19 with a remainder of 9. So it's going to take them 1 9/10 hours. So if it's 10 o'clock and we're going to take less than 2 hours to get there, will they be there by noon? Yes. Okay, so when we divided, we came up with an answer of 1 9/10 hours. That's how long it's going to take them to hike. Anything less than 2 hours, they'd be there before noon, right? Because 10 plus 2 would be noon. All right, and 13. You are measuring walnuts for banana, walnut oatmeal, and a spinach and walnut salad. You need 3/8 cup of walnuts for the oatmeal, 3/4 cup of walnuts for the salad. You have a 1/4 cup scoop. Describe 2 different ways to find how many scoops of walnuts you'll need. All right, so we could say 3/4 plus 3/8 divided by 1/4. Or we could say 3/4 divided by 1/4 plus 3/8 divided by 1/4. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to turn the fourths into eighths by multiplying by 2. So we have 6/8 plus 3/8 divided by 1/4. Okay, so it's going to take them 4.5 scoops, and let's see if we come up with the same thing here. So 3/4 times the reciprocal of 1/4. We can cancel the 4s. So we have 3 over 1, which is 3, plus, I'm going to change the fourths into eighths by multiplying by 2. I'm sorry, no. This is a division sign, sorry. So 3/8 times the reciprocal of 4 ones, we'd be left with 3/2, which is 1 and 1/2. 3 plus 1 and 1/2 is 4 and 1/2. So in the first method, I added them together. I found the sum of the amount that's needed and I divided by 1/4. In method 2, I divided each amount by 1/4 and then added the quotients. All right, so that's it for today's lesson. So until our next lesson, I will see you soon.